Welcome to 86, where the nights run long and the stories hit quick. From the back of the house to the front row mix. This is real life hospitality unfiltered. Because it's 86, baby. What's going on? How everybody feeling this wonderful evening? Hope everybody doing good. I hope y'all had a great day. Hope y'all day was filled with prosperity, laughter, joy, and some money on. Some money, some green in y'all pocket. It's your boy Chef Herman, and we here with another 86 episode. In this episode, we talking about why do chefs bounce around the industry so much? Like, why can't chefs stay in one kitchen? And that's not every chef, because you do have chefs that ride it out with a kitchen 20 plus years, 25, 30 years. Those are, in my opinion, those are more like on the corporate side of chefs, like corporations, let's say like Red Lobster, Ruby Tuesdays, hotel chains, Hilton, Marriott, things like that. But on the other side, like restaurants, clubs, like country clubs, golf clubs, resorts, even some hotels. Why do chefs bounce around so much? Y'all ever ask y'all? Y'all ever ask yourself that question? Now, this culinary world is a very small world. You can see though what I'm doing on the video. It's a very, very small world. I've ran into so many chefs that known or work with chefs that I went to school with. I'm sorry, chefs that, taught in culinary school. I worked with chefs that know chefs that I worked with back in Philadelphia and Atlanta in person. Like, it's crazy. Like, this world is so small. Like, on the train, I'm not on the train, I'm in a new kitchen. I say, hey, where you coming from or where you working? I tell them like, hey, you know this person? Yeah, I know this person. No, oh, how you know? Oh, I work with this person back in Australia. Like, whatever kind of example or situation or relationship that they may have, I should say. But it's like chefs, like the hospitality industry is so small, so small. And it's crazy. And even still to this day, when I give people like my background, they say, oh, you work with this person? I know this person. Oh, okay. That shows a lot about you, depending on places you have worked. But some of the reasons that I think chefs bounce around from kitchen to kitchen is one, treatment. How are you being treated as the chef? Are you respected? Are you not respected? Do your peers and your other managers talk to you a certain way or treat you a certain way? Does ownership, especially if you're the head honcho, does ownership treat you a certain way? Does partners or the ownership or the GMs, whatever the case, the president, do they treat you a certain way? Do they make you feel a certain way? Do they make you feel like you're an asset or you're a liability? That also does play into your work as well. But if you are a hardworking chef and you're doing everything you can, are you feel like you're an asset or a liability? And I've been in a lot of kitchens, through personal experience where now before I even get to that point, this is gonna sound bad, but usually when I work at a job, I work at a job for at least a year and a half. Then I'm like, okay, I want them to have something new. I don't want to say rarely, but not so often have I stayed at a job a year and a half, 2 years, 3 years, whatever it is, unless it was something that I was very invested in. And most of the times, me leaving, it depends on treatment from managers, my higher up, or it was a money thing. But treatment is definitely a huge factor because sometimes you will, lose out on a couple of, financial opportunity if the place or business or restaurant that you're working in treats you well. It makes you feel like, you're bigger than something else or makes you feel like you're a part of something bigger. I think it's kind of the same thing. Whatever. One take. So treatment is very important. And we know how hard this industry is physically and mentally, emotionally. So you want to be somewhere where they're going to treat you like you're a human. They're going to treat you just not like you're at work. I had a situation, one of my old jobs. Shout out to you. You know who you know. That job know what it is. Um, I was working there, started working there maybe like this is back in May, started working there in March. And my grandfather was, dying. He was passing away. He was transitioning. And I remember telling my boss's boss, like the GM of the building, like, hey, I gotta go down to Florida, I'll go be with my family. And I remember her telling me, yeah, we probably can't accommodate that because, when you're not here, it's kind of like a mess. And even though it was me and my boss in our department, I was like I was an executive chef. He was like the dining director. Said, and it was like, well, you're not here. It's kind of a mess, so we really can improve that. And I remember, I remember looking at her was like, you can't approve me going to go be with family. He's like, yeah, we got to try to figure it out. Okay. Went downstairs. I talked to my boss and I said, hey, listen, I will put my 1 day notice in this explicit word today. If y'all don't think damn well I'm not going to be in Florida in 2 days, it'll be on my family. He said, you know what? I mean, he understood, but that kind of always left like a little sour taste in my mouth. Look, treatment. Like a lot of people for that situation would just up and quit a job. Right? If you can't accommodate me for my family, they will up and quit a job. And on the other side of that same story, and I don't want to get into somebody else's business, but when I started there, another peer manager of mine, they had um they had a lot of deaths in their family within a certain time period, within like 3 or 4 months, and they were able to take that time off. And I understand seniority and things of that nature. I was 2 months in. It is more of like a compassion thing. Like, how would you want somebody to answer you if that was you? And we kind of, the treatment is a big thing. I don't want to keep dwelling on that. It kind of gave me work. Treatment is definitely a big thing. How you treat it at your job. The second thing, we kind of touched on it a little bit, money. Money, 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 money. In this industry, realistically, a lot of us are underpaid for the work that we do, for the work that's required of us, or the work that's just thrown onto us and we have to assume responsibility for. So money is always something that chefs are seeking. If I'm at an opportunity where I'm making 50,000, 55,000 as an executive chef, or I'm sorry, it's kind of low, 65, 70,000 as executive chef, and I get another opportunity where, maybe similar schedules, it's a little bit further, or, the commute is not that much of a difference, and they give me 80,000, 85,000. Most chefs are going to, want to jump towards that offer. Sometimes they say the grass is green on the other side, but if you have opportunity to make a lot more money and be in a better financial situation, a lot of chefs are looking at that. The environment and kitchen culture does play a factor into that. But when those things are aligned, a lot of chefs are gonna be like, okay, well, yeah, this is what I'm doing, this is the plan, boom, 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 I'm going here. And that's consistent because chefs are always open for opportunity. Like there are always kitchens that need chefs. Like the the culinary industry, hospitality industry is always hiring. People are always quitting, leaving, walking out, moving, and different opportunities. So there's always a lot of moving pieces. So when the opportunities come around, chefs are definitely on it. Chefs are definitely on it. Chefs are definitely on it. Now on the other side of that opportunity, there may be opportunities where maybe you aren't making a lot of money, but you have a greater opportunity. So maybe let's say you're a sous chef doing your thing, boom, boom, you make it, let's say 55, 60,000. You get a better opportunity to be an executive chef, maybe making the same amount of money, maybe a little bit less, depending on the space, operation. A lot of chefs would jump at that chance because then you have opportunity to lead your own team, be your own chef, implement the practices that you've been implementing into your kitchen. And that is something that you can't even, I don't want to say fathom, but every chef dive to be able to create your own culture in your own kitchen. Amazing. That's a feeling that can't be described. Another reason why chefs bounce around, in my opinion, is because of the freedom. The freedom that you get when you go to a new place and you the boss, you the head honcho, you the one that gets to set the rules and the policies, you the one that gets to set the coolers up a certain way, set the menus up a certain way. You have that control. When you have that control, it's so satisfying. And not on like power, ego type of thing, but more of like I said previously with opportunity and freedom does kind of go hand in hand. But you have the freedom to try things, implement things, see if they work. The freedom to make mistakes is a very important one too, because some places you make a mistake and that's it. And they on to the next one. They want a different direction. And I've been on the wrong side of that. So trust me, freedom is definitely something that is appreciated, definitely something that is sought after. That's the good word, sought after. Another reason chefs bounce around is when it comes to staff and their policies and just how the operation runs things. And what I mean by that is more more so is it an accountability thing, like staff and the policy. Like, are we holding all our staff to the same standard and same accountabilities, or do we let certain staff kind of slip, maybe because of like manager hourly relationships? Some managers are hourly can be actually great friends, which is not a problem, but you have to stay professional because of relationships, because the employee might be a favorite employee or one of the employees that work hard, so a lot of things slip under the cracks. Like, are we showing everybody the same level of accountability, the same level of standard, the same level of discipline if something happens? Like, you shouldn't have your employees, and employees pay attention. You shouldn't have your employees and your staff noticing that certain employees don't get in trouble or don't get disciplined for certain things. Because then it's going to lead them to do those things more and more and more and more. And all you're going to have is a big revolt and a lot of resentment going on in your kitchen or in any kitchen, I should say. So that's very important. And my last one, and this kind of ties all the way back to the first one, is your higher ups and your bosses. Your higher ups and your bosses. That right there is I think between that and money specifically are the two determining factors that sway chefs from kitchens. You can have a great environment, great staff, great menu, great concept, everything just going well, but your higher ups and your bosses are the ones where you're like, yeah, I can't do this anymore. I can't work for these people. I can't work with these people because it's just very toxic. It's unhealthy for me. And we have all had our fair excuse me, we have all had our fair share of terrible bosses, like terrible bosses. In the hospitality field, it's no different. It's no different at all. But not even. But is it sucks because the the and I know the pressure and the strain and the what should I say, the expectation to do well every day to exceed those expectations. Those come with a lot. And if you don't have a higher up team, a partner team, ownership team that is on your back and on your side, that gets very, 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 very difficult. Very difficult. And I just thought about it. One surprise, or we can also add this to why chefs can't stay in the kitchen is because a lot of chefs like myself, we want a lot of different variety. We want a lot of different fields of cultures in kitchen. When you do bounce around, one, you see what you're made of as a cook and as a chef. You see if you have the skills to survive, or was it just the environment you was in? Like, are you a system player or are you the system? That was spoken by James Harden. He said, "I'm not a system player. I am the system." So, are you the system or are you a system player? That's very, 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 very not very important, but that's vital in you bouncing around and things of that nature. And a lot of chefs want to learn a lot of menu concepts, a lot of different dishes, because you go to a new kitchen, you don't know everything. You don't know everything. You don't know what the kitchen's gonna throw at you. So going over to open mind, you might learn a new technique, a new concept, a new way to do inventory. Every kitchen is different, but every kitchen can teach you something different, obviously. Yeah. Every kitchen has that. And a lot of chefs want to experience that. They don't want to get held up in, unless the opportunity is too good where, you want to stay. But chefs don't want to get held up in a place for more than a year and a half. They want to be able to be free and explore and try different things out, see which avenues they actually like, see which cuisines they actually gravitate toward. Because that does kind of restrict you if you are at a place for a long period of time. You aren't experiencing other cuisines. And that's all I got. Don't got any extra ones. I ain't got no extra ones, but and I appreciate y'all for joining me on this late evening, I ain't gonna say late evening episode of 86. If you listen to this on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast at, make sure you hit that heart, hit that follow, hit that subscribe, hit that like. Make sure you leave me a comment. Make sure you give me 5 stars. That definitely helps 86 grow. Definitely helps 86 grow. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Comment, like, subscribe, like, and comment. In whatever order you feel fit, make sure you do all three. Make sure you hit the notification bell so you know when 86 any Chef Vern videos are dropping. And by the way, if you're watching any of these clips on Instagram, just know my skit, my film page, content page is up. I almost said my skit page, but my film content page is up at CVJR Content Lab. That's where all the food skits, non-food skits gonna be, films, short films, series. That's where all that's gonna be, all the content. So make sure y'all tap in and check that out. This your boy Chef Vermin. I love y'all. See you on the next.